This way it gets all. So, I'm nearing 3.9k videos on this channel. Yet nonetheless, had a guy show up on one video, the one with D. Michael Quinn's Hierarchy trilogy, who made a comment, "I want to see more videos like this." Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm just brand new. Please tell me how to do my channel. This is like, these people have been watching YouTube for generations, and yet they still don't know how YouTube works. And that's disturbing, because that may be the case. That people go onto YouTube and just scan whatever is recommended and select what they want to watch from what's being recommended. People have no clue that YouTube has creators who have channels that produce other videos on the channel. And I see, as I go out and about to do shopping and stuff, people are on their phones looking at social media. You're a puppet to the puppet masters. If you don't purposely choose what to watch and just click on what you're being told to watch, you are being controlled. Your behavior is being controlled, because the videos involve precepts for you, even if it's just a picture video, an action picture video even, where nobody is speaking. It is a mental diversionary tactic to control you. As I've seen some women pull this stunt. They try to do fashion try-ons because they're trying to make money, and so they're trying to get the particular fashion companies to give them free clothing, and they then do a video try-on. And that is the majority of their video. And then you'll have these women who will just all of a sudden do a video doing a promo for how to make $1 million in 5 days. Follow this pattern, and you can make money too. So sad. So, yeah. What good are words? And how can the word be more powerful than the sword if nobody believes in the truth of the word? If everybody is easily manipulated by whatever anybody says. And so, Benjamin Franklin had a join or die sign that he had gotten published. And it didn't mean I had found a t-shirt on Amazon that had text saying, "Of course I'm right, I'm Travis." Hilarious. But it had to do with the Revolutionary War. Join the fight against Britain, or they will murder you. Join or die. That's what he meant. But now, you have fascists who are saying, join or die. Join them or they will murder you. And that's what the British were pretty much saying, is that give up this hope of a new nation, join us again, or we will murder you. And so this was a brilliant thing by Benjamin Franklin, but easily manipulated by those who refused to understand its intention. And so, yeah, in 1838, the Danites, a group of Mormon boys, missionaries, returned missionaries, were going around threatening other Mormons to join the Danites or die. Thomas B. Marsh, David Wimmer, among others, were threatened. Benjamin Franklin Johnson, talking about Benjamin Franklin, said that he was threatened by the Danites in Adam-on-Diamond, and he caved. He became a Danite with them. Even though the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints says he didn't deny his testimony. Yes, he did. Yes, he did. And of course I'm right. I'm Travis. Unbelievable. And so the Constitution is made up of words. And in order to have faith in the words of the Constitution, you have to actually follow the Constitution's precepts and implement them in your daily life. You know, that's Church Rote Prayer number 17, or is it 19? And so, what form of government does the Constitution tell us we are supposed to be as the United States of America? Communism? Fascism? Democracy? Nope. A constitutional republic, where the Constitution must be adhered to. Not a party group, not an authoritarian. And yet, we are witnessing the overthrow of our government because nobody was following the Constitution. So if you hadn't been paying attention to SCOTUS lately, with the overthrow of Roe v. Wade, denying women abortion, what have they done? They have given rights to the fetus and even embryo, as that's being pushed by the states. That sperm, embryo, and fetus have rights, not the woman. And nobody seems to understand this. Not even the women, who are puppets to the leaders telling them that it's some other issue that they need to fight for. Their choice. But nobody bothered to go to the Constitution to see if this was a legitimate, legal, constitutional decision by SCOTUS. 14th Amendment, Section 1. Those who are born have rights, which therefore means those who are not born don't have rights. Is sperm born? Is an embryo born? Is a fetus born? What is the definition of being born? You who who are Christian nationalists, who draw near to the Bible with your lips, but apparently your hearts are far from it. When the man said, "What can I do to obtain eternal life?" Jesus says, "Be born again." And he asks, "How can I be born of my mother's womb?" Again. What did he mean? It means emerge from the womb. You are now a baby. You are now human. You have completed the initial phase of your growth, and you sprouted. And so a seed is likened unto a word in Scripture. And so the word in and of itself means nothing. You got to find out if the word is true or not. The only way to find out if the word is true or not is to produce the results of the word. And so, is the Constitution true? Did SCOTUS follow the Constitution? No, they cooed the Constitution. They are insurrectionists, giving Trump immunity. Yeah, overthrew Section 3 of the 14th Amendment, allowing an insurrectionist, a convicted felon, to run for president and put America in jeopardy of becoming fascist, completely overthrowing the whole Constitution. In case you didn't know, we're at war and the insurrectionists are winning. This is the Civil War. For 200 years, they've been putting all the chess pieces in place. And now they've been activated. We are being overrun. Our government is falling. We are all doomed. We're all going to die. And so freedom of religion. Why is the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints pushing for freedom of religion? They've already got it in the First Amendment. Oh, it's to take away the religious freedom of others. Oh. That's why the church goes on a tirade of banning porn. They're controlling the agency of other people. They're not going around saying we oppose the kidnapping of little girls to be raped and sold as sex slaves. Jeffrey Epstein. It was revealed yesterday that the Justice Department, or the prosecutors at least, knew that Jeffrey Epstein was raping teenage girls and did nothing for 2 years. They aided and abetted Jeffrey Epstein in letting him rape teenage girls. Now, they may have had an excuse. While we're trying to investigate, we're gathering evidence, yet they knew that crime was being committed. And they did not step in and investigate and make arrests. 2 years. If, well, for example, last night, 3 businesses in Midvale were robbed. They've got it on camera. We know it was a robbery. We know who the people are, per se. They've got to make a match to the identification. But yeah, the cameras caught them. And so, the police say, oh, okay. Yep, this matches other crimes that have been going on around Utah. And it matches the description of the people doing it. And we've been monitoring this for 2 years. Seriously? You know crime is going on, you know who's doing it, and you're not stopping them? You're not making an arrest? Do you not understand this? Dear God. And so when it comes to the Book of Mormon words, Book of Mormon says, 1 Nephi chapter 1 verse 2, you need to use the religion of the Jews pre-Babylonian captivity Egyptians. You can't use modern Jews, you can't use Christianity, you can't use Islam, Hindu, Buddhist. Book of Mormon tells you what religion to use to interpret the Book of Mormon. And so if you deny the Book of Mormon, even though you draw near to the Book of Mormon with your lips, if you don't follow or believe the Book of Mormon to produce the results of the Jewish Book of Mormon, you will never know the truth. You will never be speaking the truth about the Book of Mormon. So all the Mormon missionaries, if you are not preaching the Jewish religion, you are not preaching the Book of Mormon. You're preaching some other religion. And it's automatically false. It's not the interpretation on the Book of Mormon. It's real simple. Don't get mad at me because you're illiterate. Or you're an enemy Danite. Because those Danites employed the join or die. And they're this church. So, real simple, easy breezy. I should probably end the video now rather than continuing on with some more fun stuff for you. Because nobody cares. That's why we're putting it at the end. And so another person who commented thought he knew better than me after coming to just one of my videos. And let's see if I can find it. Nope. Seriously? Yeah, it was actually the same one. The hierarchy. Utah Holy Day, Holiday, Joseph Smith Remembrance, date 2024, recognized. And so yeah, we're coming up on the yearly celebration with the police in the parade, marching through the streets of Salt Lake City to celebrate Brigham Young marching into the valley to found the state of Utah. It was never Deseret. That was a Mark Hoffman forgery thing. But somebody who's calling himself Socrat from Socrates, dumbass. I don't know if I talk about it in this video. Again, 3.9K videos. There's no way I can talk about everything in every single video so that dumbasses like this don't emerge. They don't investigate first. They don't seek to figure out who I am. What happens if I click on his channel? Does he have other videos? Does he explain in greater detail, if you combine videos together, what's going on in his head? Why he would say such things against Trump and Nelson? Can't we just attack him and shut him down? Oh, YouTube's already doing it? And so, in this particular case, he's under the impression that the documentary hypothesis is true. And he thinks he's owned me, that I'm ignorant about the documentary hypothesis because he had to link me to the Wikipedia page on the documentary hypothesis. Oh my God. And so I can understand where he's coming from. But again, he's a puppet. He heard other people. He's not an authority. He's using a fallacy argument. Oops. So much for the Socratic methodology. Dear God. Just all these people think they're smart when they hear somebody say something that appeals to them. I see it all the time when I check the news. Not signed in to YouTube, of course, because YouTube's banned me from watching YouTube videos. I'm not conforming and complying to what they recommend for me. I found channels. And so, yeah, he's using Dorothy Murdoch's explanation of the Bible, where he says, he's calling the Torah mine. You are Torah for your Torah. It's a text language. Your Torah wasn't written by Moses or God, but was simply a compilation of ancient myths. And then he links me to the Wikipedia documentary hypothesis. You know, he's got a bunch of emojis laughing at me and mocking me. He's assuming I'm stupid. He has no idea who I am. He has no idea my educational background. He has no idea that the documentary hypothesis is false. It's not even a theory. In the name of it, it's not a theory. And because it's not a theory, there is no test to confirm whether or not it's true. If you can't test a theory, you don't have a theory. You have a hypothesis, but that's just a claim. There's nothing to the claim. The guy who came up with the documentary hypothesis never developed a theory. And yet, there are all these people who believe it, that it's true, when it never produced the fruit to find out if it's true or not. Same simple process for our Constitution, for the Book of Mormon. And Mr. Socrates should have listened to Vicini. Socrates, Aristotle, Plato, morons. I've been attacked by mosquitoes for the past week or two. So I'm experiencing some health problems. And so, in case you didn't know, the documentary hypothesis claims that the Bible, compiled together as the Torah, is from different source books. That are of older date. We just haven't found them. And so he gives those original documents of speculation, without developing a theory, names. And one of them is the LOS text for Elohim. Have you heard about that? The Yahweh's text, which you know it as Jehovah. A Deuteronomic source, legal source, Deuteronomy law, which is technically repetition of law, and a priestly source. And over time, people have branched off on it and created more subcategories and other categories. There were Mormon apologists who thought that they were going to prove the Book of Mormon true by incorporating this documentary hypothesis into the Book of Mormon to prove that there is an LOS source and a Yahweh source from which derive the Book of Mormon. You just proved the Book of Mormon false as literal history. Good job. You did it again. But nonetheless, that's what it is. And so it's done with Isaiah, for example. That's why the Book of Mormon apologists use that. And so in Isaiah, there's several different authors claimed based on this, without producing a theory to be tested to find out if it's even true in the first place. It's like watching Stargate or Star Trek. Stargate's going to be next. I'm almost finished with Star Trek. And believing that it's all true and that it can happen. And so then you go around and you tell other people, yeah, these are the historical documents. And then you start talking about how space aliens would come to Earth and prove that your Star Trek theory or hypothesis is correct. That it's all true. And we can actually find Ferengi, Cardassians, Bajorans, Klingons, Vulcans, if we just merely get out there into space and find them. We need to go to the Alpha Quadrant. And the Delta Quadrant has its different characters too. We just have to go out there, you know. So yeah, knuckleheads all. And so, yeah, if Isaiah is literal history, it means that he lived 700 BCE. And so, even though the oldest Isaiah document was found in the Dead Sea Scrolls, right around the Roman period time, people automatically jump to the conclusion that it's just a copy from an original Isaiah document. And in this particular case, with the documentary hypothesis, multiple documents combined together. That we'd be able to find the different Isaiah books if we just keep digging up Israel. The missing golden plates theory, which is not a theory because you didn't test it. And it's not golden, it's gold. But gold is heavy. Joseph Smith couldn't have possibly have lifted gold plates. No duh. So this is why these kinds of things happen. is because people have to make their speculation true at all costs, forcing the false word to be true. It's just disgusting. And so, lots of chaos emerges from not testing the word, using logical, Socratic methodology for science-based research theories and testing those theories for 3 confirmations minimum to establish factual truth. You can obtain knowledge of truth, not through feelings. And so, in Genesis chapter 1, I'll explain very plain and preciously without going into the original Paleo-Hebrew translation, let alone, we have to go to the Egyptian documents, because that's where it comes from. There it is, the original document. That's not what the documentary hypothesis speculates. He believes that it's an actual Hebrew document in Hebrew. And you don't realize that it's Babylonian Semitic that they're assuming, even though it's pre-Babylonian captivity. God. Nonetheless, it's those kinds of simple things that anybody with intelligence can go, wait a minute. You're claiming the Book of Mormon is Christian, but the Book of Mormon, no. Wait a minute, you're pushing priestcraft in the Book of Mormon, but 2nd Nephi, no. You're trying to convince me that the Book of Mormon is pro-polygamy when it condemns polygamy 6 times. No. It's just... So, as we read, the earth is covered with water. Like a baby inside a mother's womb, surrounded by water. I'm sure this has nothing to do with that. This is the literal history creation of heaven and earth. And so, the waters part, dry land emerges. And then it gets hair, sweats, the presence of cute girl. And the process begins all over again. Father becomes the son, son becomes the father. And so, there's the part here where mankind is created in the waters. Let the waters bring forth abundantly the moving creature that hath life, and fowl that may fly above the earth. And then they have, let the earth bring forth living creature after his kind, cattle, creeping things, and beasts. And so they're confused into thinking that this is Elohim, and that this is talking about a water birth. not a soil birth in Genesis chapter 2. First of all, they're assuming the biblical Hebrew translation into English is correct. We won't go over that again. But Yah is in Genesis chapter 1. And so the documentary hypothesis is false. It's absurd. This is not an Elohist text. Yahweh's in it. If you know the pattern of the Genesis author, you have the baby name, and it has a baby name meaning. And so the story about that baby with the baby name meaning is the story. And he fulfills his baby name meaning. And upon fulfillment of his mission, he then gets a new name. And so you should expect to see the same pattern with Yahweh. Yah. Yah is in Genesis chapter 1. He's the baby that emerges. And so in Genesis chapter 2, verse 4, oh no, different God. No, that's the new name. And the day that they were made, the day that they were created, new name. The new name is now Yahweh. No longer Yah. Real simple and easy. But the part about water birth versus soil birth, oh dear God. Is it two creations? Because mankind is created in chapter 1, but mankind is again created in chapter 2? No. No. It's the same thing. Because seed, egg, baby. And so the seed gets planted into the egg. The egg is submerged in water, but it's still soil and water together as one. But people look beyond the mark, make it complicated rather than real simple, that everyone would know, even a child. Because they taught sex ed to their kids back in these days. They didn't keep it a secret so that you go into a marriage with that cute little honey bunny and you have no idea what to do. You know that you want to do something to her, but you're not sure what. And she wants you to do something to her, but she's not sure what. But she knows that she has to turn off the lights and hide under the covers. And you need to still wear your underwear. And maybe in the course of lying next to each other, it'll just happen. If you have faith strong enough. No need to produce the results of the word. God. And so, yeah, they also understood that this came from the Egyptian Heliopolis creation glyph. All of this would have been resolved. One source document where the documentary hypothesis says 2. So the Heliopolis creation glyph is the parting of the waters, dry land appearing. Genesis chapter 1. And so it's not 2 wives, Lilith and Eve. It's just Lilith. But here in chapter 2, you then get a more detailed explanation of the Heliopolis creation glyph. There went up a mist from the earth, watered the whole face of the ground. That's Tefnut. She's the wife of the breath of life, Shu. Shu and Tefnut. Breath of life, moisture. Mist, moist, dead like me. She was so awesome. And so, thus created Nut and Geb from Genesis chapter 1. Shu was ordered to separate them. And so the 5 babies, Abel and Cain, were 2 of those 5 babies. And then Cain slew Abel, and then the replacement became named Set, which was one of the 5 babies that murdered Osiris. And this is what Dorothy Murdoch found. That I'm kind of horrified that this guy is being told about Dorothy Murdoch's work, but doesn't really seem to understand that it came from Dorothy Murdoch. And then merged it with the documentary hypothesis. Dorothy doesn't believe in the documentary hypothesis. She didn't anyway, she's dead now. Tragic, died of cancer. Christians cheered. You know your religion's not true if you think that the death of a critic means that it was God who smote her down. And so, that's all it is. And so thus the Book of Mormon, learning of the Jews too, not literal history, coming from the Egyptian documents. Yep. Prophecy and revelation. Real simple. And so, knowing this pattern, having developed a theory, having tested the theory, having confirmed that this is true, when I come across others that then produce another test, which obviously is going to be confirmed because I've already established it through 3 different ways, at least. But yeah, that's why with church history, I already established the truth of Mormon church history. And so I'm not afraid of some Mormon coming along saying he found something in the Joseph Smith papers that proves I'm lying. I dare you to try it, because it's going to turn out a bombshell in my favor. And I'll just expose you as being a dumbass. And so there's Jewish Kabbalah that came along. And there's the story of Adam and Lilith. He's trying to explain what he sees as a contradiction thanks to Roman Emperor Constantine, which should have been his first clue. However, using tradition, he does seem to understand and gets it right. Because he talks about how Lilith didn't want to be in the missionary position anymore. She wanted to be on top. Nut on top. Geb in the missionary position on the bottom. And so this Jewish Kabbalist is trying to figure out a way to force Jewish women to be on the bottom as submissive Eve was. because Adam refused, and so Lilith ran away into the east part of the Garden of Eden. And there are angels that were sent to try to convince her to follow the covenant path. She refused and swore in her wrath, as God, gave Adam another woman who was compliant, that any children born through them would be murdered. And so thus, the amulet of Jewish Kabbalah, that if hung by a baby's crib near the window, Lilith could not murder the baby. And so then you get another story that talks about Elijah meeting Lilith as she's on her way to murder a baby. And so you need to know the Jewish concept of Elijah and how he plays a role in the latter days, like Joseph Smith did with the Kirtland Temple on the third day of Passover, not Easter. And what Malachi is referring to concerning Elijah in the latter days. But yeah, that whole story of Adam and Lilith is the Heliopolis creation glyph. You got it right. It is a legitimate text that should be included in our scriptures, even though it needs to be understood in the context of what it was given in, so that you don't impose Christianity interpretation in it. You don't just dismiss it as heathen apostate methods of controlling women and their sexuality, even though that's what the author was trying to do with it. As long as you understand the origin, you don't need to fear. It's okay for a woman to be on top once in a while. So yeah, real easy. It's just so sad that our nation is falling. SCOTUS has couped our government, Congress has couped our government, the DOJ and the FBI couped our government, and the President of the United States will not invoke the Insurrection Act to save America from the war. And he's probably using the excuse, well, I don't want to cause the war. The war already began. And so when the election comes, the insurrection will turn violent now. No longer will it be the changing of the words of the Constitution. It'll now produce the results of their words, which are violence, which is coup, which is insurrection. And is Biden going to do it then? Kind of a little late then. Because when a person is plotting to commit a crime, you don't wait. You know they're involved in the process of committing a crime. You got them. You can arrest them for having committed the crime, even though you only caught them planning and plotting it. You know everybody involved. You know they're not a small fish that you can use to bait a bigger fish. No, you got them. Get them. Don't wait 2 years. Or 4 years. Or 8 years. Oh, God. We all knew. And I knew that it's been 200 years. By going back to the beginning of church history with Joseph Smith Sr. and Lucy Mack and their young family in Vermont, when I realized that the Carthage jail assassination is more complex, that I needed to gather further evidence for the crime scene investigation, to get a bigger picture of what led up to it. And then you examine the whole crime scene and the surrounding environment during the crime scene incident, and then follow the money after the crime took place to do a thorough research on the event. And so, by doing that, I stumbled across the plot to overthrow America in the latter days by the Danites of Brigham Young and Heber C. Kimball. And that Joseph Smith Sr. was the one trying to save America with the publication of the Book of Mormon. Jr. had nothing to do with the composition of the Book of Mormon. That's where everybody gets fooled. And yet, the Danites, by covering it up and turning it Christian, nobody sees the prophecy in Revelation warning us of the danger that we are now in. Nobody sees that the Book of Mormon prophesied all of this, prophesied the day and the hours of when this was going to be implemented. And I'm the only one apparently who sees it, and there's nothing I can do to stop it, because nobody believes my word. Nobody believes the word of the Book of Mormon and prophecy and Revelation. They're purposely dumb, trying to enforce their beliefs as true, and trying to hurt me because of it. All you're doing is going to burst your faith bubble when the church is destroyed and no kingdom, as your life is utterly destroyed. Your loved ones are murdered. They're fed to you by the enemy. It's coming.